All right, everybody, welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking with us for the rest of the show, till the end of the show, and the end of the year, because this is actually going to be our last fresh show of the year. So to commemorate that, we've invited 6 of your favorite people who you're sure to recognize sitting around the table. Tati Amare, of course, is still here, holding it down in the seat. And next to Tati is I'm all confused. Dontre Conerly, of course.
Nice to see everyone again.
Looking very snazzy in that red
Snazzy,
sweater.
the man in red. And next to Dontre, of course, Mel Farrah is here.
Belly Mel.
And, right, she's feeling a little holiday blue.
Yes.
And right across from her, of course, is the man, the legend, Greg Johnson.
So kind of you, Brian. Thank you very much. I'm so happy to be here with you guys and everyone here at BRIC.
All right, bringing the energy.
Wow.
And Robin, a tough act to follow, Robin.
I know.
Robin Cloud, what do you got for us?
No, I'm happy to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you, Robin. And of course, we're happy to have the big man next to me, PJ. Right, look at him. PJ Landers is giving you his Blue Steel moment for the holidays. So all of these fine folks are here because we are doing our inaugural Bimmys.
Yes.
So
That's
the
right.
editorial staff here at BK Live got together and we came up with some categories and 3 corresponding nominations for the year that was in Brooklyn. So we invited our Brooklyn experts around to discuss, and right at the top of the list, we're going to start with the Can't Turn Away Award. Right. Now this is for people or stories that we just could not, for better or for ill, not pay attention to. So the nominees are, number 1, the DA Charles Hines. Ooh, was in the news a lot this year. Number 2, BK as a global brand. That's Brooklyn as a global brand. Number 3, Wiener.
As an Anthony.
So
I think we tried to turn away from
You know,
it.
It was hard. It was
It just
really
kept
hard.
beeping us back, right?
can't fight the winner. So yeah, these are 3 stories that were in the news this year, and you know it was just that thing you couldn't get away from them. So
Notice 2 out of 3 are hyperlocal train wrecks.
Hyper-
I would say.
Train wreck.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So let's start with train wreck number 1, if that's how
Take that photo.
D.A. Charles Hines, like all due respect, he had a
Sad
record
face.
of service that
He did.
was something legendary in this
Indeed.
borough.
And then.
And
And
then it would have been nice to see his career end on a high note and not without all the messiness that came with this last election. So it's a little disappointing, but yeah, we couldn't get enough of it. Like one minute you're changing parties, there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on. So
But I mean, there was a silver lining, right? We got Ken Thompson, the first
Indeed.
black DA.
That's
so
right.
there's a
That's
silver
true.
lining, I guess, to that story, which, unlike the other train wreck, there was no silver
there was no
lining.
silver
No
lining.
silver lining.
No silver lining to Mr. Anthony Weiner. We couldn't ignore him if we wanted to. Because when we were
It
like,
was in your inbox.
listen, on the
Yeah,
cover of the
yeah.
Daily News. He's
Delete.
Delete.
a man
delete.
who is running for public office should not ever have to admit that it
Look at that
could
face.
be my bleep in a Twitter pic. Like,
Right.
And who
it's
had the
so
burden
much-
of proof to prove that it was his, right?
I
Like, how did
can't.
you know?
So sad.
It's too much.
I'm saying if you can't trust the politician who doesn't know what his own penis looks like.
Right.
Exactly. And look at
That's all I wanna
struggling
say.
to keep
Well, he
a
wanted
stiff
everyone
upper
to know.
lip.
Right,
Tough.
right,
Yeah.
right.
I
It was
wanted
tough.
everyone to know what it looked like. So
Clearly.
we go from Charles Hines to Anthony Weiner.
Weiner.
We skipped
Yeah.
the number 2 spot. Now this is Brooklyn as a brand.
As a brand.
Brooklyn, hey, hello Brooklyn. At least that's in Brooklyn. But you can, I promise you, walk into the mall in Ames, Iowa right
Yeah.
now and buy Williamsburg jeans.
Really?
Which
Yeah.
means they're like stovepipe. Dontre has them. You know.
Super skinny. But you know what? I don't really mind this as much because I think Brooklyn had a lot to be proud of this year, and then the Nets being a big thing, and that whole apparel line
Right.
being something that was both fashionable and it was something that you could be proud of. So I didn't mind this so much.
I think if you're going to wear the Brooklyn name clothes, you have to at least come to Brooklyn at least once.
Yes.
Yeah, I
agree
Okay?
with that. I
Get a
agree
little
with
something
that.
on you,
One
and then wear
visit.
your Williamsburg tight
Yeah,
ass
bring your
jeans.
money.
I like this.
We
I
need
mean,
some
for all
earnings.
of the people who have years and years and years in Brooklyn, everyone is just catching up with us. We knew knew Brooklyn was fly ever
Exactly.
since.
Ever
Can I get
since.
some?
Absolutely.
Brooklyn prep
Yes.
rep?
And this is a real school that closed in the 70s.
Okay.
Not something that I picked up at the Gap or anything.
Exactly. We knew it. They were catching up with us. We knew
Yeah.
Brooklyn is fly. This is where, you know, great food is, culture, entertainment, and really just mad flavor, which is what it was called before it was called swag. So,
Right,
BK is where
it on back.
Don't
So-
people?
That's right,
I think
that's right.
I think
This is kinda
people in
like
France
passé for
say
us.
Trey Brooklyn as a cool
No.
sort of thing.
Oh,
right?
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I still maintain that we need to get on the city council or somebody, Chuck Schumer in Congress, to say if you have a 112 zip code, we get a cut of
Yeah.
all
That's
of that
right.
Brooklyn
Please.
paraphernalia.
Yes,
So
that's-
Marty would get the
Reparations.
biggest cut.
Well, I'm saying, whatever helps the rent that's too damn high. Whatever. So let's put it to a vote.
All right.
The can't turn away, for better or for ill. We've got Charles Hines, Brooklyn as a brand, or Wiener. Any hands for Hines? I'm going in for you, T.A.
Okay.
Hines. I couldn't turn away. It was a
do
lot
it.
every day. It was like a saga. All right, so one for Hines. Okay, BK as a brand.
I'm going to go with BK as a
BK is a
brand.
brand.
Well,
you know.
Wiener's got it.
Biggest
That's
train
funny,
wreck of the
right.
year.
Yeah, he's definitely
No,
the
biggest local train wreck,
Yeah.
because
Local
we
train
know that Mayor of Canada is
Oh,
a little bit more of a train wreck.
He was
I'm just saying.
fun
But
too.
you
I'm just saying.
digress, Miss Farrah. You digress. Let's bring it back to BK. Now, that was a train wreck, admittedly, Mr. Wiener. Congratulations for that dubious distinction. But BK proud. The wiener is winner.
Yes.
The winner is the
Yay.
winner.
Congratulations.
That's like the best news he's received all year.
I
I
think.
think we have him on the phone right now.
Seriously. Can we get him
Check your
in the
text.
studio?
Check your
I
text.
was going to say mediated communication only with
Yeah,
Ted
Wiener,
Wiener.
come on
But
down.
this is good. This is like the only accolades he's gotten all year.
He
right?
won more
So-
than 4% this time.
Right, wow.
Ouch.
Wow.
All right, BK proud. What made you proud to spell home BROOKLYN this year? So Brooklyn proud. Our first nominee is
All right.
Brooklyn's political dominance.
Yes.
From the
Very good.
mayor
That's
to the
awesome.
public advocate to
Very
the
good.
progressive arm
Yes.
led by Brooklyn delegation in the city council to Obama at Juniors. Brooklyn had it on lock this
Yeah.
year
Sure.
for political dominance. And number two, lesbian capital
Yes!
of the Northeast. Well, where's Robin voting? As declared by our
Come on,
borough
guys.
president and spoofed by SNL, Brooklyn is the lesbian capital of the Northeast. Thank you, borough president. Thank
Mental
you,
dance
ladies.
for all.
And number three, the Brooklyn Tabernacle performing at Obama's second inauguration.
Right.
Way back to the beginning
Cool.
of the year, a little rewind. I think everybody puffed up a little when they saw Alicia
course.
Latuja there
Yeah.
doing
Of
her
course.
Glory Hallelujah. She turned it out. She turned it lashes and smiles and days. So let's get into it. What made you proud to be in BK this Mr. Johnson?
If I may, I'm very happy with Brooklyn's political dominance. Mr.
Yes.
de Blasio lives in my neighborhood in Park Slope. I saw him recently.
Not
I'm
full on.
sure
Nice.
that he watches BK Live. We'd like to get him down to the studio. Mr. de Blasio, congratulations.
Before the
And-
moving truck takes them to Gracie.
Yeah.
Not only
Yeah.
that, but he ran against Loda, and Loda's from Brooklyn. So it's
Right,
like
we couldn't
all
have lost.
hands
Yeah.
on
That's right,
one
that's right, that's
there,
right.
Right.
So
I love it.
Our public advocate elect. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and then a lot of the positive, there was some positivity that came out of Brooklyn too. I know Lori come over in a really positive campaign. There was just a really good vibe
Right,
coming
right.
from the
Carlos
borough.
Yeah.
Menchaca made history in
Yeah.
Sunset
Yes,
Park,
excellent.
first Mexican and openly gay person going to the council.
Yeah.
And that just, so good.
Very big
history,
deal.
dominant.
We had a
I hope
great
it makes
political
Either the
year.
candidates were from
Absolutely.
here, or the president came in,
I
right?
know.
A few times at P-Tech, and then he used
Yeah.
to live in Park Slope.
Exactly.
So Brooklyn just has it tied up on the political
Yeah,
front.
definitely.
Political
do.
dominance,
Yeah.
something to
That's
be
a lot.
proud of.
Yay.
I love
That's
it.
Now, let's go on to the ladies of Brooklyn, as we are.
Oh, gingers.
That's a spot you may have been to once
In
or
Park
twice
Slope?
if you're a
Fifth
lady
Ave?
loving Brooklynite or just a
Address,
person
please.
who likes it. But
don't know
gingers,
it.
that means that Brooklyn, as declared by our borough president, is the lesbian capital of the Northeast.
Wow, so we like beat out Northampton, which is like the home of all
P-Town.
lesbians.
and Providence.
Fantastic.
them.
And
Yeah.
all
All
of
of
them.
them.
All of them. Yes, I spent many a high school night. Oops, sorry, Mom. Yeah, never mind. Never mind. Never
But
mind.
it's also worth noting that Brooklyn's Pride celebration celebrated, I believe it was almost 20 years this year, BK Pride. So it's
Yeah.
one of the longest running celebrations this June.
I'm
So
kind of
big
torn
ups.
between Mrs. de Blasio being a former lesbian
Yeah.
and number two being the lesbian capital of the
Right,
world,
well,
but
she-
it's
That
like
kind of
best of of both worlds, I think.
Kind of straddles the fence of
Yeah,
both
she's
of our
straddling the
categories there.
fences. Yeah,
The political
yeah.
dominance
So-
as well
All
as
about
the
the
lesbian
bridges.
distinction.
The Brooklyn Bridge, and of course the Brooklyn Tabernacle Choir, as we
course.
said, they were
Right.
phenomenal
Right,
out
right.
there. Like,
Congratulations.
Glory, hallelujah. So let's throw down the gauntlet. Who's going to vote for Brooklyn's political dominance?
We're in there.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
I gotta be loyal
Johnson.
to my.
Again,
I'm Robin, just our general
And
principal.
PJ, come on.
with her.
Yeah.
We are extremely proud of Brooklyn's lesbians, but I
Yes.
believe that political dominance has it.
Yes.
Thank
No,
you,
you
Denise
still
and
won.
Craig,
All right,
for
we still
bridging
won.
the
Next
gap
year,
between
next
the communities.
We win either way.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Totally.
very true.
No one loses.
I'll meet you at Home
No.
Depot later.
That's
Right,
right.
right, there you go.
Aisle
Dominance.
Congratulations.
Dominance. Wow.
Congratulations.
I know.
Not even political dominance.
It's just dominant.
Well, duh.
Wait,
it's
did we
Brooklyn.
vote for the wrong category here?
All right, this one is what we're going to move on to next is We Hardly Knew Ye. Now, We Hardly Knew Ye is a sentimental look back at some of the people or places that we're sorry to see go in 2013. Number one, the late, great Lou Reed.
Lou Reed.
Former king of the Mermaid Parade out there. Of course, he belongs to the ages now, the Velvet Underground, to everything he did. Lou Reed, a great son of Brooklyn. Moving on, number two, Third Ward.
Right.
The doors are locked, the lights are out, Third Ward is gone, you're not getting a refund. And number three, the Eagle sign. It was a landmark and
It
it's
was
gone.
amazing.
Now, before we get into these, I know I'm not talking outside of school, was saying that PJ had a write-in that I think we might want to consider.
The which one is
The dolphin.
Oh, the dolphin, right.
Gowanus dolphin.
Right.
R.I.P.
I'm sorry, we had
it.
Big ups
Right,
to
we
the
had
Gowanus
we had the
Canal
dolphin. There was a
We hardly knew him.
we hardly know.
Oh, that's true.
Dolphin died in the Gowanus Canal.
That's so sad.
Let that be a lesson to anyone who wants to go swimming in the Gowanus Canal.
They are, well, in all fairness, they are cleaning it up, right?
They
So-
are,
Yes.
and maybe in like 20 years that dolphin will be able to swim there.
It'll be a while. It'll be a while.
It's going to be the Dolphin Channel.
For real. Yeah, seriously. This is a really tough category
Yeah.
because everything is kind of like a little, has a little sting
Yeah,
to it.
they're all
But,
good.
I'm personally upset about Cake Man Raven on Fulton. Clemson,
You know what?
So I knew him.
He's open in
just
East
hardly-
New York, so don't. It's
This
open
is
in
the
East New York,
second
so it's
write-in
cool.
from
But I'm just saying,
Yeah.
the Cake Man Raven used to be
Walking
right
up the
there,
street.
In
right
East New
there.
York, he's opening?
He is already open. He's
Already
already in
open?
East New York, so.
But I think everybody kind of knew him down as a
That's
part of
true.
that
Yeah.
downtown landscape. And now it's
I'm personally glad that
Right.
the temptation is gone because there have been times where I've ran out of here like I'm not gonna eat red velvet today. I'm not gonna eat red velvet. Next thing you know, I'm like brushing crumbs off my mouth.
Right.
So yeah, I like that. Yeah.
So I would like to say this is a draw.
Yes.
We love and will miss
Yeah.
all
All
of
of
those
them.
things,
Yeah.
Bimmys for all.
including
Yeah,
the
Bimmys
dolphin.
for all.
So
Bimmy name.
Bimmy name. We'll take it. Fill in the blank at home and send us your write-ins too. So moving on, this next one is Good Hoods. Now, we were gonna originally say Brooklyn's 3 best neighborhoods, but we really got into it in the editorial meeting.
Yeah.
So what we have come up with as a compromise is get in the Wayback Machine with me. If you knew then what you know now, where would you have invested your time and money into moving to?
Bed-Stuy.
Park Slope.
How far back are we talking
Well,
about
if you
here?
could have
Yeah.
picked as the
5
graphic
5 years
designer,
ago?
Five
5
years
years
ago.
ago. Okay.
we have some choices.
That's
Put
not
up
long
the
enough.
choices.
I know.
Well,
15
The
would have
way
been
back.
really.
Yes.
15.
The way
15.
way.
The
We
way,
need the
way
way
back.
way.
all right. So
I'll tell you, I think Gowanus,
Mr.
Gowanus is going to be turned around in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
It's going to be, they're going to finally, I think the super fund to clean up that
Right.
water is finally going to happen. And that area is a nice area. If they can figure out the flooding,
Well,
you
that's
got
on
some
its
nice,
way, right? You have the Whole Foods coming there.
It's already there.
And
Opened up.
Right, and then the high-rise
high rises are always there.
So, yeah. So
Real estate will push that whole area into a better.
I just think future talk, we really have to be concerned. Like, will there be some radioactive leftover?
Yeah.
You have to
There's
just think
that.
about that. And you don't want that to happen. I'm not wishing
You don't
that
want
on.
any
I love
love
it. It's like,
canal
you don't
type of thing.
think.
Right.
I
Like,
get
if the
you.
dolphin couldn't make it more than 2 hours, I mean, you got to think about
Yeah.
how
Right.
it's
Brooklyn, yeah, but the people from Brooklyn, a lot tougher. than
Lot
the
tougher.
Dolphins. That's all I'm saying.
I will give you that. That's very
Speaking
true.
of a lot
That
tougher,
Atlantic
That dolphin was
Right.
in Staten Island.
number 2 was Bed-Stuy. Bed-Stuy
Do or die
was our
Bed-Stuy.
Yeah.
number 2.
Hey.
So, you know, I'm a little biased. I happen to be a 11221 guy over here, so I'm in Bed-Stuy.
see
So
you.
Bed-Stuy is number 2, and the third pick was Le Bushwick.
Now, 5 years ago, I
Since
was
when
living in
was it in
Bushwick. I would
Bushwick?
not have invested
yeah.
in
Yeah.
anything. I wanted to get the heck out. No offense to all my friends in Bushwick,
And
but
now, can you afford to go back?
I might be able to,
I
not to
still
brag,
wouldn't
but
want
it's
to.
not a great, it's not a great
I lived
place.
there
I'm
for
sorry.
a month,
No
and I
offense
used
to all
to
my
take
people.
the bus 2 blocks to my street
Really?
because it was
like
too
that.
dangerous to
It was
drive.
like
I mean,
that.
to walk.
Yeah.
I definitely would vote for Bed-Stuy.
Yeah.
I would definitely vote for Bed-Stuy.
Yeah,
Now,
somewhere
remember
off
when
of
the
Lewis
Wayback
Avenue.
Machine? So 5 years ago, if you knew then what you
Brownstone.
knew now.
Absolutely.
Bed-Stuy, Brownstone.
Yeah, Brownstone.
Yeah, out of that
Brownstone,
list, Bed-Stuy.
Not a big
I think
loft
buying
in
a brownstone
Bushwick.
anywhere would have been
Yeah.
a good bet for the most part. Well, like, with the exception of Bushwick.
Yeah,
as you
there's
guys
no
are saying.
brownstones in Bushwick,
No.
so.
No.
But
the real
it has
estate.
changed a lot. So.
Going with the Gowanus thing.
You go-
I
Okay.
like Gowanus, honestly.
In terms of being picturesque and what it can and could look like, Gowanus. But
Right.
Bed-Stuy, come on.
Yeah.
All right, let's
You got
bring it to the vote.
heritage.
Right.
Vote.
It's either Bushwick or, I'm sorry, it's either Gowanus or Bed-Stuy. Gowanus,
I'm going Gowanus.
I go with Gowanus.
we got 3
Bed-Stuy.
I'll vote for
Gowanus.
Gowanus too.
You know what?
Is this going to be a tie?
Bed-Stuy.
I'll vote
Brian,
for
you're the tiebreaker.
Bed-Stuy.
He's got to break the tie.
Bed-Stuy wins.
Come on,
Bed-Stuy?
Because he's from 11211. How did that happen?
Moving on.
right.
I'll see y'all at home.
He was like, I know where I live.
Exactly. And so do all of my neighbors.
Brooklyn made. Now, these are things that are our top makers. And, you know,
yeah.
Brooklyn, we're home to everything artisanal, homemade,
Yes, yes,
handcrafted.
yes.
We go from our kitchen table to the world. So, our top makers. Number 1, distillers.
Oh.
If you're drinking it, it should be from Brooklyn. Number 2, the sort of food culture smorgasbord that pervaded our society. And then 3, our friends over at Dunwell Donuts, who Robin and I had the pleasure of
That's right.
sampling their
Vegan
donuts. when they
donuts.
were here. Phenomenal donuts.
Right.
So distilleries. If you've been drinking it, it should be made
I
here.
was here with
Yeah.
you for that show, and I tell you what I remember the most.
Kings
that
County
every time I
Distillery.
turned this way and turned back, you had 2 more shots for me to take on air on an empty
You're
stomach.
a cheap date.
But yeah, don't tell everyone.
date.
I was hoping for something high priced. Anyway, it was. I do agree with the distilleries. Great liquor.
Right.
We mentioned that Brooklyn now outdoes Portland, Oregon. Right. There's a number of
The woman who
distilleries.
runs Kings
Yeah.
County
Really?
Distillery
Right.
was here,
Wow.
and she
Yeah,
is the
whiskey, got
president
beer.
of the Association of Distillers for the country.
And they
she
make
let us know-
moonshine here. I used to have to go
Yeah.
home to Louisiana to get that. Now I'm glad that it's here. Now my
There you
home
go.
here has
There you go.
moonshine. I'm
Yeah,
happy.
so we got Steve Hindy with Brooklyn with the beer over there. The folks at 5 Points.
They have Brooklyn
So they're-
homebrew teaching you how to do it at home.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's all here.
Even
Red Hook
distillery culture.
Distilleries in Red Hook.
So we've got beer, we've got booze, we got it all here
Let's
in
get to the
Brooklyn. and
food.
distilleries.
Come on.
All right,
Yeah,
That's
Tati.
what I'm about.
I'm thinking
what
the
I'm
same
about.
thing.
The
Oh, that's the
smorgasbord.
those are vegan donuts.
Yeah, vegan donuts. You can never
Dunwell
go. Those look
donuts.
Those
spectacular.
do look
Spectacular.
amazing.
They look amazing.
How
Spectacular.
dare you to put those up against
The crunch.
Anything.
Oh.
any like
Any donut.
Corona,
Yeah.
You would not
any-
know the difference. I mean, they were amazing.
Yeah,
The
the-
Well, what makes
presentation
them
is, like,
specific?
over
I
the
mean,
top.
how are donuts made
There's
otherwise?
no
right?
animal anything
at all
With,
in
with
that.
eggs,
It's
right?
all from
I mean,
no-
vegan donuts don't have eggs.
They
so
have
they don't have
nothing,
milk.
no animals,
dairy-
no
yeah,
byproducts,
no
of
nothing.
it, no milk,
Yeah.
No
no
gluten.
No, there's
butter.
got to be.
Now the New York City cops are going to
Right?
get skinnier because they're going to.
Not likely.
More incidents of stop and kiss.
Yes, that is
Stop and
indeed.
kiss after
And then,
that.
of course, the food truck culture, which everybody knows that I love.
Yes.
The smorgasbord
Yes.
out in Williamsburg.
Your favorite.
Everything from Korean barbecue to slushies to homemade ice cream. You can't go wrong. So
That's all in one day, too. I
all
love that.
day.
Food trucks
All
in
on
general.
one
I
day.
like the Red Hook lobster truck. That
Yeah,
was
yeah, we
really
talked
good.
about
That's
that.
a good one.
Yeah.
That's a
Amazing.
good one.
And
And that's where you
Yeah.
can find it. So
Sometimes you go there though. This is down in Dumbo,
Yes.
where they have a
dumpling
food
truck
truck
spot.
rally.
Oh,
For
yeah.
sure.
But sometimes it's a bit much when like everyone's standing around and that's in that space and they're just like turkey legs.
And why is food better from a truck than from an actual restaurant? Is it just the culture of
The
the?
exhaust adds extra flavor.
No, that is true.
Smokiness to it.
It's just so you can eat lots of different things.
It's
And not only that, the
Yeah,
cost of
that's it.
entry for running a food truck is a lot
Yeah.
cheaper
Yes.
than a brick and mortar
Brick and
store.
mortar.
This is a
But I
whole
mean,
other show.
let's not. I mean, these people are chefs. A lot of them have either started from
Oh,
a
yeah,
brick and
sure.
mortar, so it's like it's good food.
definitely.
Yeah, the
despite
kimchi
fact that it
taco
comes from a
place
truck.
has an actual storefront
Yeah, they do.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right on Washington.
Yep.
But you know, we support our businesses too. We visit brick and mortar restaurants.
Right.
But let's put it to a vote. Who's in for distilleries?
I'll vote
I'm a
for booze.
distillery
I
guy.
was. Tati pulled me over.
Really?
Yes, she
Ooh,
did.
Tati.
She pulled me over.
Tati has swayed the vote, so let me see the hands of the eaters.
Eaters.
Robin, where you at? Where you
I think
at?
I'm gonna go
You
with the
love
food.
it.
Switched on. I know the Irish guy is supposed to do the distillery, but
I did that.
I'm at the
Holding it down with
vegan
our
donuts.
vegan
donuts.
Well, you know what? We got 3 for the booze, we got 3 for the food, and 1 for the donut. They were so damn nice. I'm gonna go and give it to the donut people.
Yeah.
Just because.
All right.
They were nice.
The guys at Dunwell, they did it well when they
they were
came
sweet.
here, and they were super sweet, and they walked the walk.
Yes, indeed.
So donuts.
Donuts.
Bimmy
I
donuts.
love a
folks at
vegan
Dun-
donut.
And you know
I'm
what?
not
They
gonna say
probably will be selling Dunwell donuts at Smorgasburg.
Sure.
Yeah, they're gonna have a truck
Sure.
next
On the
week.
back of a
I'll take
bicycle
all 3,
because they're
frankly. I think
I know,
that's
right?
a nice tidy meal.
That's
right?
true.
Food truck with the
Another
distilleries
3
followed by
How
the
do you
dessert.
go wrong with the
Dessert.
donuts
Can they have a
and
liquor
booze and-
truck? Can
Right.
they have a liquor
I don't know about that. I mean,
As long as they're not drinking while they're
Let's get on that.
I mean,
All right.
That'll be our next can't turn away, right? Public intoxication. Right.
2014.
Oh, man.
Right.
Okay, now we're going to go art and culture. So some of the top art happenings. Number 1, that guy from over there,
Banksy.
Banksy, that
Banksy.
graffiti person scribbling all
British
over our
artist,
city.
right?
Yeah, of course.
Does he live in Brooklyn?
He was in Brooklyn. He made
Okay.
news.
He
The
made
mayor was
news
all
in
pissed
Brooklyn.
off.
But he's not from
Celebrated
anonymous, so
Brooklyn.
He doesn't get a beam.
Celebrated 35 years in Prospect Park this year. A little
Okay.
hometown love for the folks in Brick Building. Celebrate Brooklyn had their 35th season out in their band shell at Prospect Park. They're number 2. So, and number 3 on the list is where we're sitting right now, the DBCB, the Downtown Brooklyn Cultural Arts District.
Yeah.
Anchored, of course, by Brick House.
Yes.
Yes.
And then there's a few other places around.
Well, if we ever want to be on the air again, I think we're voting.
I know. I was like, this is kind of not fair.
Right.
This is some
I'm
of
not
the
into
work
the
of
Bansky. It was boring to me.
Really?
That's how I used to say it. Every time they would say his name, it was like, it just.
Each his own.
Yeah, that's what it is.
There's a slight bias for the Banksy folks watching.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, I was happy to hear that he was in Brooklyn and running
Yeah.
around and he wasn't like, you know, in Brooklyn Heights. He was like in the style
Right.
and like out there. Yeah,
He's
exactly.
in New York, right?
Listen, it was
Yeah.
graphically compelling. It was graphically compelling, but he's not from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's really hard for me to give him a
like
Bimmy.
everyone else, he came and hit the big time in Brooklyn.
This
Right?
is-
A lot of people.
He
vote
did get
with
more
him.
publicity
tagged
here.
He got more
over.
publicity
Yeah.
from being
tagged
here
all over them.
than vice versa.
And also
so
nobody-
that's what we
I
did
don't
for
think
him.
very-
Robin's
Nobody knows
not
his
having
real
it.
identity. He could be
No.
from Brooklyn, right? Like he
He's
could be
not. We don't
amongst
know.
us.
British.
He's
He could be.
You guys know, yeah. It could be Greg Johnson.
Could be you.
Check under the fingernails for
I'm here to
Yeah,
tell
Greg
you I'm
Johnson.
Banksy.
Robin. You've heard it
That's
here.
what the hat
Brooklyn.
is. The B is for
But I'm still going to vote for number 2, Celebrate Brooklyn
Yeah.
35th
Yes, me
anniversary.
too, me too.
Big fan of all the
Moving on.
concerts in Prospect
Okay.
Park.
Me too,
I think it's a
sure.
wonderful thing to
Love
have in
it.
Brooklyn.
35 years later.
I love it. It's
still
amazing.
$3.99.
I was there. I took this
yeah.
photo, I believe.
Nice.
I'm a big fan.
Nice.
Big fan of these concerts.
Yeah.
What you got, Mr. Landers?
Yes,
I have to go for so.
that was a great time over the summer. So.
All right, and
Yeah.
then
It was.
the
Every night
Downtown Brooklyn
almost. I love
Cultural
it.
Arts District is
Oh.
our number 3. This is a rendering
Yeah.
of the future of the Brooklyn
more to come?
Cultural
Where is
Arts.
that going to be?
It looks like it's
Looks like
in,
across the
across
street.
from
Oh,
BAM.
right.
Yeah, but you know, we're friends and neighbors. We love everybody from the folks over at Theater for New Audience, Mark Morris, our neighbors upstairs at Urban Glass, of course, Brick House is here, but I think the winner is Celebrate Brooklyn.
It is Celebrate
Yeah.
Like 35 years later.
Yeah, that's
35
amazing.
years
And
later.
Still like
Wonderful
Many
experience.
wonderful summer nights. I'm sure you've all had them
Totally.
too.
Right.
Love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, a little first kiss action on the blanket
Ow.
there. So
Mine was this summer.
Wait, you guys are there the same night?
Funny. So funny.
all right, everybody, we wanted to tell
Is there a
you
photo of that? Where's that one?
Jungle fever, I like it.
before
Go ahead,
the black
Brian.
man starts blushing. I'm gonna
Keep
move
it
on
going, Brian.
after the show.
Now.
Right.
So we have
Romance.
my
now
girlfriend.
something that just a one quick answer. It's the I wish I woulda. Something, you know, like Brooklyn has so much stuff going on. So it's just we wish that we would have. My I wish I would have is I wish I would have seen Beyonce last night over at the Barclays, but I missed you, Miss Carter. Maybe next time. Not for lack of trying. Get your tickets together. But anyone else, did you have a wish you woulda?
Yeah, I wish I would have gotten to know my neighbor Bill de Blasio better before he moves to Gracie Mansion. I want to shout out to him again. Hopefully he comes down to the studio sometime in 2014.
Okay.
Tati, your wish you woulda?
My wish I would have is I wish I would have made it to Brownstone Jazz in Bed-Stuy.
Oh, yeah.
A little local action, but I will be there in 2014.
Ramen, your wish you woulda?
Oh gosh,
spot, on
I
the
wish I
spot.
would have gone to at least one concert at Barclays Center. I didn't see anything.
It's gonna be there for a
It
minute.
is something.
Yeah. We'll start a Kickstarter
You know, I had the
for my
same thing with
ticket.
Beyonce. I wish I had gotten the tickets, but I got the album, so I'm close. We're there. We're there.
All right.
All right,
Right.
we can
Melly
do that.
Bell.
I'm on the Queen Bey bandwagon.
Right.
I can't lie. Like that's
Yeah.
the one show I wanted to see here, home,
Are
Brooklyn. Like I wanted to go.
Are
Yeah.
you listening, Miss Carter? Show some love.
I
for the
know.
people that
It's a return
listen.
trip. Just
And you can
one
come.
more
We'll
time.
even talk to you. Like if you want to come here
Exactly.
in exchange for
We
tickets.
invited her yesterday.
Brian is
She
offering
was
you
too
his
busy.
seat. Like,
Mr.
you're
Landers, you
serious.
wish you would have.
I wish I was at Junior's eating cake with the president.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. That's a good
Oh,
one.
yeah.
That's a good
That's
one.
a good
That's
one.
not
We
bad
are
at
across the
I
all.
would tell him I'm still behind him, and let's go on.
Yeah.
All right,
that's a good
2014, and looking forward. What's Mr. Obama going to do? Is Queen Bee coming back? So 2014 predictions.
I think a lot of great things are going to go on here at this new building. I'm looking
right.
forward to
Yep.
being a part of this network and the whole company in 2014. That's my prediction. More great things on BK Live
Brick
and
roads,
for the
brick
channel.
roads.
All right,
That's
Tati,
good.
your 2014 prediction, crystal ball.
My prediction is that Brooklyn is just going to keep on getting flyer and flyer. That's it.
All right, Mel Farrah.
My prediction is that Brooklyn is going to replace Atlanta as that new go-to place for entertainment and media.
Nice.
I think it's going to happen.
The very entertaining Ms. Cloud.
My prediction is that the real estate market in Brooklyn is going to explode even more.
Goodness.
And I'm going to make lots of money.
And share it with Melanie.
All right, Mr. C.
My prediction is that in 2014, the Park Slope Co-op is finally going to find out who's been pilfering their produce, which is a big thing for them. So I think they're finally going to put a face to that one. Yeah.
Good one.
I think with the new mayor and a new DA, that Brooklyn's going to be one of the best places in the country to live.
Yes.
I love it.
I agree.
Well, I predict that 2014 is going to be an awesome year for everybody sitting around this table and involved with this show, and we'll see you at the Emmys in the year after that.
That's right.
That's my
Cool.
prediction.
Good stuff. Thank you, Brian. Happy New Year.
Already off the air, there's no one to say goodbye to. Thanks for joining us every day and letting us into your live, folks. And thank you to the people who punch all those buttons and make it happen for us every day. So round of applause for all the ones that make it happen. We love you guys, and we'll see you later. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.